Okay, good morning all. Logged in and welcome to the MIC Institute of Technology's presentation here at the Trinidad and Tobago's Manufacturers Association's Trade and Investment Convention 2020 themed Breaking Boundaries. And we are certainly breaking boundaries today and with this convention this year as we continue to thrive through this new normal and as we look into innovative ways and means to ensure continuity to our operations during this COVID-19 pandemic. So at this time, we'd just like to thank the TTMA for this opportunity, and we do hope that our presentation will be an insightful one in which you would be left with a greater appreciation for what we do here at MIC Institute of Technology. So just to give you a quick backdrop, MIC Institute of Technology, formerly known as Metal Industries Company Limited, is an agency of the Ministry of Education and was established in 1974 as a joint venture of the government of Trinidad and Tobago and the United Nations Development Program, as well as the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNDP, and UNIDO. And also, more importantly, a number of private local manufacturing industries. And our presentation today would center around that, which is in fact MIC's role in supporting industry. So after 40 plus years of providing that manufacturing support to our customers through the design and production of high quality tools, molds, precision machining and manufacturing, MIC Institute of Technology was rebranded in 2014 as a unique entity operating as both a commercial factory and also a training institution. So my colleagues and presenters this morning will discuss and apprise you of the support MIC IT can provide to the manufacturing sector despite the COVID-19 challenges faced by many of our industries today. So at this time, I would want to present one of our video presentations, which will give an overview of what we do here at MIC IT.
Food preparation and culinary arts. Industrial maintenance. Tin pan manufacturing.
Okay, thank you for that. Just looking at the comments, I realized that you all did not get the audio on that. We'll try to rectify that and come back to you all shortly. So with much ado, what we can do, we can go into the first presentation, and I would like to introduce right now the manager of the plastics division department here at MIC Institute of Technology, Mr. Conrad Duncan. He would give insight as to how MIC IT supports the manufacturing sector even small and micro enterprises through the plastic production and some of the products and services that we render. His perspective would focus on the plastics area as well as the engineering and manufacturing side of MIC IT. So, Conrad?
Okay, so I'm going to cover MIC IT's role and support to the manufacturing sector of Trinidad and Tobago. What is Trinidad and Tobago's manufacturing sector? Well, we know that Trinidad and Tobago's manufacturing sector is the largest in the English-speaking Caribbean. We have over 250 manufacturing organizations in operation. This makes up the third largest sector of the economy after the energy and services industry. Although we know that there is an overlap, so that there is a bit of manufacturing that could be spoken of in these industries, it's still the third largest within the economy. Our country in Trinidad and Tobago holds several competitive advantages. We below the hurricane belt, we have advanced telecommunication system. We are the first for the IT infrastructure in Latin America and the Caribbean. We also have two international ports that is able to support 63 shipping lines, so it's able to access the entire world. These information that I put on the slide, you can see the source in the links below. And there's a map of the that I got from the TTMA website in terms of all the manufacturers within the Trinidad and Tobago country. So now what's about MIC? What is MIC? Well, to build on what my colleague, Mr. Langai, spoke of, I'm going to go into what MIC Institute of Technology is. They will expound on the technical and vocational aspect. I will speak to the industry services and what we offer. So, like Mr. Langai stated, we were established in 1974. We are specifically a tool and die making manufacturing organization, and that's a niche area of expertise that has allowed us to build a lot of precision parts, molds, press tools, jigs, and fixtures that has many direct and indirect support to the industry of Trinidad and Tobago. So this is a slide that basically encapsulates our engineering and design support. We do machine and equipment design. We offer it through these skilled areas of competence through computer-aided designs, computer-aided manufacturing, industrial machine adaptation and development. We also assist our industry partners through plant optimization and innovation. MIC incorporates the engineering principles of new product design and development, reverse engineering, product and process development, industrial systems development, consultancy, research and engineering, and design services. We also do a lot of 3D prototyping work. We have a state-of-the-art 3D scanner, as well as a 3D printing machine that is able to bring to life some of the things that you were to imagine from concept design. Our workshop department consists and offers several areas of service, not limited to, but including these areas I've highlighted here: precision machining, heat treatment, welding and fabrication, electric discharge machining, and tool and die making. Tool and die, like I said, is a specialized area, highly specialized class of machining, and we use it to do molds, both injection and blow molds, tool and dies, jigs and fixtures. The welding and fabrication, we use it for different types of alloy steels for various industries throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Our plastics department, we offer these areas in Trinidad, in our plastics department at MICIT. We do injection molding and blow molding. We do after service manufacturing, which is printing through silk screen printing, and we also do thermoforming. And these are basically pictures of some of our product lines that exist right now. But because we offer these services to industry partners, we also do contract manufacturing, and their products aren't highlighted here. Industrial maintenance, both for in-house as well as external purposes, we utilize a highly skilled maintenance staff that is basically able, through a wide area of expertise, through skills, knowledge, and attitude, which is essentially is the competence ball, we are able to offer preventive maintenance, machining, reconditioning and repairs, functional analysis, and development of maintenance systems. We also, because of our wide range of expertise and the wide range of machines that we deal with, we assist organizations in the procurement of special tools, materials, and machinery in order for them to do their startups. So again, what is MIC Institute's role and responsibility? Well, our mission, our vision speaks to developing national and regional governments and industries for growth and prosperity. We have a specific focus with the national and regional industries through quality training, innovation, manufacturing, construction, and engineering products and services. Focus, as it has always been since 1974 and as it is today, is industry leadership, industry partnership, and industry innovation. Well, I turn you over back to Nathan, and we'll field questions, I guess, at the end of the presentations.
All right, Conrad, thanks a lot for your presentation and also going into that whole aspect of our mission, our vision, and, you know, just indicating MICIT's leadership in providing that support to the manufacturing sector and manufacturing companies in Trinidad and Tobago. Just want to reiterate some of the services that Conrad would have indicated, some of the engineering support, engineering and design support. And as we know that, you know, innovation is something that, you know, the government of Trinidad and Tobago is looking into a lot right now. And MICIT has the capability to assist in that regard. So at this point in time, we would want to go back to that video that was presented earlier. And we hope that the audio would be sorted out by now. So going back into that training video.
The Metal Industries Company was established in 1974 as a major support to the manufacturing industries in Trinidad and Tobago. In 2014, MIC was rebranded as MIC Institute of Technology, maintaining its original mandate, but with greater strategic focus on training for industry. The Industry Services Division is seen as the commercial arm of MICIT. As the General Manager of this division, I oversee 5 functional areas: design and engineering, an advanced manufacturing workshop, a plastic plant, maintenance, and planning and operations. Together, they form a synergetic manufacturing process for servicing our clients in manufacturing, innovation, and engineering products and services for over 200 of our industrial clients, a one-stop shop of services.
The Design and Engineering Department serves as our main support to the strategic business units. For instance, we provide engineering services which include design of plastic molds and press tools, machine design, 3D printing, operations research and development, grant funding proposals, feasibility studies and product innovation and development. We also administer a 2-year postgraduate engineering training program in manufacturing. The applicants are graduates from UE, UTT and the industry.
The workshop is principally a tool and die shop that caters to the manufacture and repair of injection molds, blow molds and press tools. And we offer machining services for a wide range of precision parts. We also have a welding and fabrication unit, and we also offer a range of heat treatment services. What sets MIC IT apart from the rest is our ability to build prototypes. We have the technology to build any type of machine or devices.
At our plastics plant, we produce plastic products from 2 main plastic processes, injection and blow molding. However, we also do thermoforming for cannibal type customized products, and we provide printing services for our generic items. MIC offers contract and generic plastic production, inclusive of but not limited to storage containers or flower pots, buckets, cups, clothes hangers, etc. We also use our regrind and repurpose our resin from waste products as an environmentally responsible method of our production.
At our maintenance facilities, we service all types of industrial equipment. We do procurement, equipment installation and commissioning. We also do equipment reconditioning and mechanization to enhance function and performance. We also offer customized training in maintenance to suit your specific needs.
Our Planning and Operations Department performs an administrative and technical support function along our manufacturing value chain. In addition, Planning and Operations handles our regional outreach in setting up alliances with universities and business clients. So far, we have done business in Guyana, Grenada, St. Vincent, and St. Martin.
MICIT has been proud to be a major contributor to the development of industry in Trinidad and Tobago and even the wider Caribbean, particularly the manufacturing industry. MIC pays particular attention to innovation, and again, even more so today, we are involved in providing innovative solutions to industry.
Okay, thanks a lot for that video. And I do indeed hope that that video did justice to the number of and various activities that we do here at MIC Institute of Technology. At this time, we would sort of provide another video that gives a snapshot of our training services.
I wanted an accredited institution to learn real hands-on skills to start a career in auto and diesel.
Masonry.
Welding and fabrication.
Building construction.
Production.
Electrical installation.
Food preparation and culinary arts.
Mechanical engineering.
Industrial maintenance.
Steel pan manufacturing.
I always had an interest in technical vocational training. And when I heard my friends talking about MIC Institute of Technology, I said, yes, this is for me.
MICIT gives trainees the confidence and the foundation to start their tech work training from an early age.
Whatever your choice of career or training may be, we at MIC can turn your skills into a rewarding career.
We are the first accredited technical vocational institution with centers across Trinidad and Tobago, and we offer GATE funding for higher level programs.
And don't forget, we help trainees in athletic scholarships.
At MICIT, we train for industry.
Right, thank you. So those videos gave a pretty good snapshot of what we do here at MIC Institute of Technology. Now I'm going to go into TVET and the manufacturing agenda. At MIC Institute of Technology, as you know, we are a premier post-secondary tertiary level technical vocational education and training provider with over 45 years of experience. The institution, as I indicated in the opening remarks, was formerly known as Metal Industries Company, for most persons would have known, and was established to pretty much address the existing and emerging labor needs of industry at that time. So rebranding from 2014, the institution evolved exponentially and today now offers courses about approximately over 30 programs ranging from level 1 through level 4, and mainly in the fields of engineering, building construction, manufacturing, hospitality, agriculture, energy, and also the technical teacher and instructor training. The range of programs, as you would have seen highlighted in the training video, are programs such as helping you prepare for employment. The acronym for that is HYPE. The Multi-Sector Skills Training Program, the Industrial Craft Program, acronym ICP, the National Skills Development Program. We have additional courses in renewable energy, the Technical Vocational Instructor and Teacher Training Program, and most importantly, one of our niche areas is customized training that we provide for the industry. And I just want to reiterate, the NSDP program was founded somewhere around 2004. That program was influenced by the German partners, and it's accredited by ACTT as well as our German partners. So the Institute has expanded its training to reflect the needs of the local manufacturers with a focus on the technological advancements, and extended its reach into rural communities to provide some of the more social programs. So with 14 centers across Trinidad and Tobago, we have become a major skills training provider and a regional center for the manufacturing, as Mr. Duncan indicated, for press tools, molds, high quality precision parts, etc. So we provide quality tech voc training for the various competitive industries. And as was indicated in the video, we are the first technical vocational education institute in Trinidad to become accredited by the Accreditation Council of Trinidad and Tobago, ACTT. So going into some of the programs that we offer, I'd like to just give a snapshot for those of you who may not be familiar with some of our program offerings. As indicated, our programs range from level 1 through to level 4 on the Trinidad and Tobago National Vocational Qualification Framework. So we start by offering the HYPE program, helping you prepare for employment. And that program is a 9-month program that centers around skills, basic skills in building construction. So you would find skills such as plumbing, basic electrical installation, masonry, joinery, carpentry in that program. And that program, as I indicated, is a level 1. So graduates from that program normally go into the industry as helpers, as assistants, under guided supervision, of course. That program is offered at MIC Institute of Technology with a stipend. The trainees are offered meals, etc., and PPE, tools and equipment is provided by the institution. Persons graduating from that program, that level 1 program, has an opportunity to matriculate into the multi-sector skills training program, the level 2 construction aspect. That program offered is, the duration of that program is a 9-month program, And there's also a hospitality section of that program that is offered for 6 months. The hospitality aspect focuses on food and beverage management, culinary arts, and the likes. And those persons from that program could even matriculate into some of the higher level program once they graduate successfully. So going on to some of our higher level programs, the industrial craft program, the ICP, came across the MIC IT from the formerly known technical training institutions. Some of you all may be aware, the John Donaldson Technical Institute, before it was transformed into one of the campus of the University of Trinidad and Tobago. And the programs from those technical institutes were given to MIC to manage. Those programs would be your traditional craft programs and is certified by the National Examination Council of Trinidad and Tobago. Those programs are rated at level 2, and there's one program in there that is a technician program that most persons may not be aware. It's the general drafting program, which is rated at a level 3, and that's a diploma program. The National Skills Development Program, as I indicated, was started up with the German influence. The government at the time received an invitation from our German partners, and upon visiting Germany, they saw the model of a work-based learning program, otherwise known as the factory learning concept or the factory learning model, in which students or trainees would be attached to an industry, and in there, they would acquire the competencies and skills to be able to function as technicians, as journeymen in those industries. And today that program goes on with the same model. It's a 3-year program in which the students are attached to the training center in the first year, where they would be trained all around in various skills in industrial maintenance, electrical and electronics, and also machining and the likes. They have the opportunity to specialize from year 2, and they would be attached to an industry. And I'll go further into that later on in my presentation. The Technical Vocational Instructor and Teacher Training Program, it's also a program that was adopted from the technical institutions, and it focuses on giving that pedagogical and andragogical training to teachers in the National Teaching Service under the secondary schools, teachers under the ambit of the TechVoc area. And that program is also accredited by the ACTT as a level 4. And persons in that program, when they graduate, they have the opportunity to become trainers, to become persons in the secondary school to relay that teaching and learning experience. I would also like to delve a bit more into some of our customized training. As we know that our support to industry relies heavily on the training of competent staff, competent labor force. And as I indicated before, this is one of our niche areas in which we go into an institution, we conduct training needs analysis and assessments, and we provide that customized training experience to the industry. So pretty much, as Mr. Duncan indicated and started by introducing our mission statement, which I'd like to reiterate, to be the catalyst for developing national technical vocational competencies for competitive industries through quality training, innovation and manufacturing and engineering products and services. Just want to say that MICIT is committed to building that capacity for the ever-emerging knowledge and service economies. So all of our programs are created to prepare students for the world of work through the work and learn model. that learning model, which gives them the advantage of real on-site job experience. So going into the manufacturing agenda, in a study in 2018 done by the Central Statistical Office, Trinidad and Tobago's manufacturing sector, it was stated there that they currently employ approximately 60,000 persons directly and has a role of developing our country's GDP. It was even further mentioned that those areas, in the areas of food and beverage, tobacco products, there was some growth in those areas. And it showed that the manufacturing sector had a 7.3% growth. Now, fast tracking into 2020 and the strategic plans of the Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturing Association, it was stated that they plan on doubling exports within the next 4 to 5 years. What does this mean? As we know it, the world of work and the world of manufacturing is changing at quite lightning speeds. We ourselves can't hardly keep up. And as we are fully aware, gone are the days of the mid-level assembly or machine operator jobs. We do not have the long lines of human labor operating assorted machines or packaging products from a conveyor, etc. If we still have these things operating in some aspects, in recent years, we know that those things would soon be faded. Currently, we see a lot of additive manufacturing in developed countries, and developing countries are adapting to that. We see 3D printing and the like. And, I even read where in some cases, the warehouse world is being phased out in some countries, and the parts are being manufactured on a needs basis. All we need now is to ensure that the design detail of various parts are required and is available via Okay, I seem to be back. Apparently got disconnected for a bit. Apologies for that. Yeah, so continuing on the aspect of manufacturing, we see now where you don't need a host of parts stocked. In some cases, you just need to have the design detail of a part required just available on a computer, and the machine will be able to manufacture any part required at moment's notice. So this is the world that we are in right now, and I'm sure my colleague will apprise you of that in her presentation later as we delve into the Industry 4.0. So there's a need for TVET graduates to be able to move away from, mastering, that single skills to be able to be more delve into the information sciences to do the work and can apply to innovation and invention in the workplace and in manufacturing industries. So this is where apprenticeship-based play an important role and have that close link with industry and can serve the skills needed in a whole range of service industries. Yeah. So for those TVET graduates who probably would have left school or left the training institution about 5 years ago, they have to continue developing. They have to continue with lifelong learning, or else they would fall off that quote unquote learning bus, as we would say. So there's a serious need, and as we can see it, for the collaboration between the TVET institution and the industry. There needs to be adequate collaboration between us here at MIC and our industry partners to ensure that the relevant practical skills for industrialization are needed. So what does that extent of collaboration between us here at MIC IT and the industry would look like? So I would like to suggest a couple of ways in which we can boost and also close that skills gap that we would see. As we know, it was found that industrial attachment is the most profound linkage to ensure that our graduates, our training programs cater for the need in industry. So also just to indicate that the output of a TVET institution such as ours is the input to the various industries. So as we know, in many cases, the new skills that are needed are required to be met by the need of providing not only the minimum of schooling at a vocational institution, but also to ensure that it caters for that lifelong learning and to factor in the advancements in the technology as forward. So moving forward, we see that in many developing countries, there's various different strategies that would be enveloped and would foster that partnership with industry and TVET centers. There's many incentives, may it be from government policies, fostering that linkage and collaboration between industries, etc. Now, unless these changes are made and accepted by TVET institutions such as ours and the private and public sector, we would lose the resources and we would basically stay in a case of basic skills, and Trinidad and Tobago will not be able to catch up with the changing economic and skills landscape. And going back to our tagline, which states training for industry, just want to reiterate that MIC is committed towards driving that skills agenda for Trinidad and Tobago by providing the graduates with opportunities for practical training. One of the issues that I want to delve into now is something that we faced here at MIC with the challenge of placing some of our trainees at the industry. We know the economic landscape is not favorable at the moment. However, there needs to be closer linkages through public-private partnerships with industries, a consortium of companies as well, to assist in that regard and ensure that we have that platform, we have that avenue where the trainees could be attached to an industry and reap the benefits of the experience that could be garnered at various institutions. Without that practical training, as we know, that is inherent in our programs, the trainees will not be able to be fully competent as a graduate from the programs and go out into the industry. Also, in some cases, we can look at the consumer-driven approach aspect, where the industry is the primary, as I indicated, the industry is the primary consumer of the TVET graduate, and the industry participation is required in the TVET curriculum and the workplace training opportunities. So we have to ensure that our collaboration with the industry is more, not only from a training perspective, but from the beginning of the process, where they can assist in developing our curriculum and ensuring that it meets the needs of the sector and the advancements in technology. So from the International Journal of Engineering and Technical Research, it was indicated there as a point of the effectiveness. It was stated that very few countries can afford to provide a comprehensive and effective TVET system purely through government financing. In many developed countries, it is estimated that up to 80% of skills development is provided by industry for its own workers. And beyond this, the countries with reasonable links between industry and institutions, it was stated there that between 20% to 40% of TVET institutional revenue is generated from the entrepreneurial activities of the individual institutions. As we can see, my colleague, Mr. Duncan, would have shown the commercial aspect of MIC IT, in which we do these various jobs for the manufacturing sector. We support them through that means. And, you know, some of a small percentage, I believe, Mr. Duncan, shows where it caters to the small and macro enterprises, the small man on the street, so to speak, where they would come in and they would get that assistance from an entrepreneurial standpoint. It was also indicated there, it is often seen as part of the beneficiary type based financing for TVET. So one of the areas that we are looking to as a sustainability aspect of some of our programs is to ensure that the programs have that entrepreneurial input so that our graduates coming out of the programs, you know, they can start to set up their own businesses, etc., and also add to that whole manufacturing agenda. So pretty much we see where the collaboration between us here at MIC and the industry and the general public is more important, especially at this stage. And we know that, you know, this financial and economic challenge is something that, you know, we have to work together on to ensure that we are able to overcome and to be a nation that could be resilient during these times. So just want to say thank you for that. And, you know, at this point in time, I believe we should be able to present another video which would encapsulate some of the aspects of MIC again, with some of the additional stuff that we seek to provide. So once again,
at MIC Institute of Technology, we offer a solid foundation in technical, vocational, educational, teacher training techniques. Here, you will convert those TechVoc philosophies into practice.
During the course of this TVET diploma program at MIC Institute of Technology, I've learned a great deal of knowledge and skills that I am sure will help me to become a better teacher in the classroom.
At MIC, this TVET program gives me the opportunity to reach my students and deal with their different learning styles.
At the end of this program, I will become a better TechVoc teacher.
At MIC IT, instructors will improve their technical and professional competencies to enhance the delivery of their TechVoc curricula.
We are the first accredited technical vocational institution with centers across Trinidad and Tobago, and we offer gate funding for higher level programs.
If you're an instructor or technical vocational teacher, this diploma in technical vocational training is for you.
And don't forget, we offer certificates in Train the Trainer Level 1 and Level 2.
At MIC IT, we train for industry.
Okay, thank you for that once again. Just want to remind our participants that we'll be addressing the questions to the end of the session. Keep the questions coming in. We are taking notes, and we'll be sure to have a good discussion afterwards. At this point in time, I would like to introduce one senior administrative personnel, Ms. Patrice Lightbourne, who would seek to go into the Industry 4.0 and what MIC IT is seeking to do to fill that or to meet that gap. So at this point in time, Ms. Lightbourne.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lang. Good morning to all of our viewers online. I hope that everyone is hearing me. If you are not, feel free to just drop your comments in the chat and we will address accordingly. So my job this morning for the next 30 minutes or so is to take you on a journey through MIC, Institute of Technologies, integration post-COVID using some 4.0 technologies that already exist, also where we are at now, and how we intend to integrate technology into the future of the organization, but also into transforming TVET in a way that creates value for the 21st century economy. So preceding the onslaught of COVID-19, the global community had already been adopting 4.0 technologies. I'm sure many of you, if not all of you, at some point have heard of nanotechnology. You may have heard of robotics, biotechnology, cyber-physical systems, and one that we're all very familiar with our cell phones and devices, cloud computing, dealing with big data. So the Industry 4.0 has already encroached on our steps. And this is the same for organizations. Many organizations have been incrementally introducing these technologies into their organizations to add value and to gain the competitive edge. Same is true at the MIC Institute of Technology. Using advanced technologies and integrating that into our training systems and processes is not new to us. Way back in 2012, and I'll share an image with you now. Way back in 2012, the institution, we foresaw that there was going to be a growing demand in the welding skill area by reason of the revolutionization of the construction industry. So a lot of infrastructure, a lot of the skyscrapers that we see, there are welding components integrated into that. So what the organization would have done way back in 2012 was to be the first to procure the Vertex 360 Lincoln Electric welding simulation machines, and we introduced that into the training model. So what was the benefit of that? What we would have done there is positioned ourselves to create more competent, critically thinking welders to output those persons, those graduates, into the world of work. So the welding simulation technology, just to give you a little synopsis of what that does, it's just simulated welding. So using the relevant device, the Lincoln Electric Vertex 360, what we would be able to do is to create scenarios based on the content of our curricula and thereby assess critically the competence of the candidates, but also create unique scenarios in the event of an emergency. Something may happen on a construction site. So we foresaw that this need was coming to fruition in the industry, and we decided to, of course, because we are MIC, to take it a step ahead and go ahead and procure that. So what about the persons in the rural community? The image that you're seeing on your screen right now is our welding caravan, and that is a 25-seater bus. In Trinidad and Tobago, we would say a big maxi, that we converted to host 10 welding simulation machines so that we can mobilize this service and we can take it to industry or we can take it to rural communities, right? So this is just one of the ways that MIC would have already integrated technology into our training model. Also, back in 2013, the organization started to train our training instructors, our instructing staff in solar photovoltaic technology. I'm sure you are familiar with solar panels. So we went ahead and we collaborated with partners internationally, and we had our faculty trained in this area. Not too long thereafter, what the organization did was to launch short programs in solar photovoltaic installation and repairs. So why am I saying all of this? I am saying all of this to say that technology has been a part of our institutional construct for some time. It is not new to us, and we were already exploring the technological advances in TVET to add value to all of our stakeholders, our industry partners, to feed into the socio-economic demands nationally, and also, of course, to prepare our candidates for the world of work in the 21st century. So that is where we were as an organization. Our business model is one where we integrate applied, and applied is the key word there, applied manufacturing, innovation, engineering solutions into the training model. So we have always had a very close relationship with industry, and we have been agile to the changes that have occurred over the years to ensure that we remain relevant as an organization. And this is why Industry 4.0 and where we are at is important. So what happened? Of course, March 2020, we were all plunged unexpectedly, and many of us not ready, into the COVID-19 pandemic. And what that did is it's really compelled a lot of organizations, including ours, to re-examine our business processes, to say, how can we integrate technological advances more into not only our training processes, but also into our business operations to ensure that we are more lean, to ensure business continuity. I'm sure many of you would know a lot of organizations had to close their doors. Some training institutions were not able to recover in time. However, MIC was able to do an assessment very quickly of itself and adjust to ensure business continuity so that all of our stakeholders, of course, can get the benefit. So what happened? When COVID-19 knocked on our doors, the organization, like many other organizations, per mandate of the Ministry of Education and the restrictions, we had to close our doors, our physical doors. However, very hastily, the organization underwent a self-assessment, a critical assessment of its ICT infrastructure, and that being a part of its integrated information system. And the information system is essentially the people, technology, and processes that make up the organization's construct, and the integration between those to add value and to gain the competitive edge. Well, I should say for MIC-IT, to ensure that we maintain the competitive edge. So what did MIC do? What we did is, through our quality assurance department, we engaged our stakeholders, internal and external. On the internal front, we engaged our instructing staff to deduce what are the gaps that may exist in order for us to continue business. Where do you need us to meet your need in order for us to be able to continue to facilitate our training offerings? So we did an assessment of our staff, we did an assessment of our infrastructure, and we also liaised with our industry partners to deduce what needs they are going to need going forward. What are their needs? What is important to them? And in doing that, one of the first things we did, so I'm going to speak now a little bit to how we responded to the pandemic using information communication technology. Some of the technologies many of us are already familiar with, and what that did for the organization in terms of adding value to all of our stakeholders. A little later on, we are going to speak to where we project the organization to be and some of the technologies that we foresee us and other TVET institutions using in future. So what did MIC do, and what is new for us now? How are we responding to the pandemic and ensuring the continuity of our training services, right? And what value is that going to add, of course, to the economy, to our manufacturing sectors? What is our role? So one of the first things that MIC did, the organization established a hybrid learning management system. Now, a learning management system is essentially an online platform, a well-integrated one that allows for interactions, live teaching and learning sessions, as well as it has the facility, the resources to host material and content, not only for the live sessions, but also for trainees who can access that information thereafter outside of the classroom setting and add to their own learning curve. Right, so the organization created a hybrid learning management system that comprises two platforms, one as aforementioned for interactive sessions. So you have live sessions, question and answers, similar to what we are doing now, but also we have platforms that we are using for new modes of assessment. So for example, using e-portfolios, where the instructors will now go back onto the platforms and do the assessments, do the review of the assessments that would have been posted by the candidates. So that's one of the things that we did, is establish that system. It is a first for the organization to have online teaching and learning. So essentially transitioning to the blended learning model, to have online teaching and learning for our technologically inclined practical, what we would call practical programs. The business model of the MIC Institute of Technology, our training programs are pretty much based on the factory training concept. And that is to say that traditionally we were inclined to such things as industry attachment, where we will have the candidates in the classroom for a period of time, learning the theoretical components, and thereafter attached to the industry, where they not only enhance and continue gaining their education in their particular skill area, but also adding value to the labor needs of industry partners. And that's one of the biggest things that we do for industry, is we support their labor needs throughout the training process and thereafter. However, of course, because of the situation that we are all grappling with at this time, we had to find a way to continue training without that privilege of going out into the industry, because many businesses were closed as well. So this is where the learning management system came in, where we can interact, where we can have the material, where we can also input some of the feedback that we would have been getting from our industry partners. So that's one of the first things we would have done. We would have taken the traditional model and refined that, reviewed the curricula to make it more applicable to the blended learning model for online teaching and learning, and change the model to suit the needs of the 21st century industry. This is not limited to a response to COVID-19, but this is a direction that the organization is projecting to go into in the long term, because this is where the world is going. Everything is basically online. We are having a conversation online. So this is where the organization is incrementally integrating technologies into our business model and our systems and processes to add value to all stakeholders. So that's just one of the things that we did. Another thing that we did, of course, in order for us to be able to facilitate or to accommodate training online, we had to upskill our staff as well. So for example, through collaboration with the Ministry of Education of Trinidad and Tobago and the Commonwealth of Learning, the organization upskilled all of its instructing staff in, and I want to give you the correct name for that training program, using open educational resources for online learning. So that program was a certificate program that introduced our instructors, in some cases introduced, upskilled in other cases, and retooled in other cases, having all of our instructors now at the same level based on the need that we as an institution have and the socio-economic need that is out there, to prepare them for this transition. So our instructors were upskilled in the use of ICT resources for the teaching and learning process. They were also given guidance and training and instruction in preparing material for the purpose of online teaching and learning. Of course, we know plagiarism is a big thing. Copywriting and plagiarism is a real thing, and it can have serious and very grave consequences if we breach those codes of conduct. So the organization was very careful to upskill our faculty in the relevant ICT related areas, not only to navigate the learning management system that we have in place, but also to be able to upskill, to deliver training online and to prepare appropriate content and material for the learning process. So that's one of the other things that the organization did as it relates to technology and business continuity in our response. We also did an infrastructural review. So we went on to examine our infrastructure, and what we came to was an upgrade of the hardware that we had across our 14 technology centers. We also created what we call smart rooms, which are really rooms that have the resources for audiovisual technology, network connections to allow us to stream classes. Of course, not all persons have facilities at their homes. So the organization had to establish a process whereby we create the facility, of course, within the guidelines and restrictions that are given to us, so that our instructors have the requisite resources to continue our training delivery. So what we did was, as I aforementioned, we established smart rooms that have the requisite technology so that we can utilize those spaces for video recording of content, as well as for the delivery of curricula. For the first time in the organization's history as well, the registration process has now been transferred to a completely virtual process of activities. Usually, candidates were required to come into the organization physically, and there was a lot of paper trail involved. Now we have streamlined that process for the first time, and we have the registration process, application through to communicating to the candidates their success or not, and we have that process online. And what that means is that we have improved the turnover time as far as communication and response to our participants. We have created chat rooms through our registry where persons can have direct contact with a candidate or with an officer who is responsible for their particular program area. So we've improved the communication process. We have reduced the turnover time in the application process as well, using ICT resources. So we went 100% online. We have also included in our orientation process, and it's something, again, for the very first time, the organization has included in its orientation process, giving our candidates, our newly enrolled candidates, a crash course essentially in basic ICT and navigation of the systems that we are going to use. The reality is that a lot of the participants enrolled in our programs, they do not have access to these resources. So in us exposing them to this, we are also helping to build their professional capacities as well. So this is something that we have included as a new feature into our training offerings, whereby during the orientation process, we are introducing our trainees to some of the ICTs that the organization is utilizing. We have also increased the industry partnership relationships that we have. In August, if I'm not mistaken, on August 12th, 2020, we hosted our first fully virtual industry partner symposium, where we interacted with our stakeholders in industry to deduce what do they need from the MIC Institute of Technology. So all of this to say that in terms of how we operate now and sustain business whilst creating value, being agile and remaining lean in our operations, is to integrate technology into our training model, but also into our business processes. So I said a lot, and if I were you, I would be thinking, so what does this have to do with me? How is this going to benefit me, a future trainee? How is this going to benefit me, an industry partner? So what are the benefits of the integration of technology and some of the Industry 4.0 advances into the MIC Institute of Technology training model and business processes? So essentially, when we speak Industry 4.0, what we are speaking to is digitization and integration of the information system. Remember our information system, people, technology, and processes, and having a streamlined well-synchronous operations between those three components to add across the value chain. So you're not just speaking within the organization, but the external factors as well, the pestle factors as we would refer to them. So you're speaking to the legislation that exists and what we need to contribute as an organization to help reform that for the future of TVET in the 21st century. Right? And when we speak Industry 4.0, we are also speaking digitization of product and service. So people tend to think often when they hear the word innovation that it's just, okay, I'm going to establish a new, I'm going to create, manufacture a new product. And that's not necessarily the case. It is just the fact of doing something new that adds value in a different way, essentially. And that is what MIC is proposing to do whilst maintaining its role in supporting industry. So the benefits as we continue are integrated information system. So technology, people and processes being seamlessly streamlined to ensure more efficient communication, to ensure that the demands that are upon us is met, to ensure that we are agile to the needs of industry and we can quickly adjust based on the trends that are occurring. In the establishment of the learning management system, the benefit to that is there's a move now for learner autonomy and self-directed learning. So just like myself, many of you would be employed, some of us are mothers, parents, we have lives. And oftentimes, at least the direction that education is projecting today is one where you would find the only time the learner has the opportunity to engage material is after hours, just when they're settling into their day. So the benefit of the learning management system in that domain means that the learner now has more access to the material. So they are not limited to the interaction in the classroom and then that's it, they're left to their own devices. The materials are online, the recordings are online, and also another plus to the learning management system is that it allows us to create links to other pieces of information that are relevant to the specific skill area or course of study that our candidates are enrolled in. And what this means is more interaction with the material. The learner is now going to be more comprehensively competent in that area, and the product that we output, the graduate that we output, would be a much more critically thinking candidate. Another benefit, and of course, for our industries, because we are now moving to that blended learning model, and we're well into it at this time, health-wise, screen time is limited. So whereby you would be in the classroom and you would have the teaching and learning activities happening throughout the entire day, that has been cut down. And what that means is it allows us to give you, the industry partners, more time. It allows us to hand over this labor need that you require for a longer period of time to get more involved. And of course, it also means that, again, the level of competence of the candidate, of the graduate that we are putting into the world of work is going to be much greater. It also means that the cost, and that is the increased industry support, having our classes online primarily at this time, it also means that we are reducing the cost per trainee. Yes, we are still faced with a lot of financial constraints, as is the globe. The economy it took a very hard hit with the onslaught of COVID-19. Notwithstanding, the cost per trainee, because of the reduced amount of expenditure in physical resources, you're speaking to lighting, air conditioning, that kind of thing, furnishing the facilities with toiletries. Because all of these costs are reduced, it gives the organization an opportunity, to the extent possible, to intake more candidates. So to increase our enrollment because the cost is less. And what that means is that we can onboard new industry partners because we have the labor that they need to give them to meet their demands. So these are some of the ways that the integration of technology into the training model and our business processes, my apologies, has been and will continue to add benefit. Some of the other benefits would be something that we are exploring right now. The organization is looking into the introduction of a shift system. So COVID-19 has unfortunately meant that many persons have lost employment. There's a high rate of unemployment at this time. And to enter the world of work in the 21st century, one needs way more than a traditional academic profile. in today's society, where Industry 4.0 is well underway, skill is the new currency. A skilled person is in much more high demand than someone with just traditional academic qualifications. So you would find that there is a growing need for persons to reskill and retool themselves to go back into the world of work. So MIC Institute of Technology is proposing in the not too distant future to establish a shift system that would allow what universities would consider mature entry candidates to come into the organization and to retool and to reskill themselves to go back into industry. And what this means is that that product that we are going to reintroduce into the economy is someone who has experience, but they will also have a technical capacity that is needed in today's industry. So we propose to support further the labor needs of the industries that we support by outputting a new stream of graduates into the society, one that has both the traditional academics and the experience, but also now equipped with a skill that is relevant to the socioeconomic needs that we have now. New opportunity for international accreditations is another avenue that we are looking into, and already discussions are underway because we are now transitioning to that blended learning model. It means that the organization can now cross borders in a different way. It means that we can collaborate with a new contingent of bodies, accrediting and regulating bodies and other institutions that would allow us to offer training and leverage the cost cutting using their technologies and their resources. So we can now cross borders and offer the candidates that come to our organization more options for international accreditation. And I will explain why this is important in future when I discuss where we project the organization to go. And of course, the largest benefit is creating a stronger, supportive sense of community. The reality is that as an organization, we have a social contract with the community in which we operate. We have a responsibility to add value. And by being online, improving our communication processes through technology, introducing things like the student portal is something that we recently launched, where information is readily available. Questions can be manned via that portal. It creates a very well networked system that allows us to be very quick, to respond to what industry needs of us, and also to evolve or to develop our organization in a way that we will continue to be pioneers in the TVET sector. So where do we go from here? MICIT has responded to the COVID-19 pandemic. We have adjusted a lot of our systems and training models to be appropriate for online learning. We've transitioned, my apologies, to the blended learning model. We have created, reviewed our curricula, upskilled and retooled our staff, and prepared ourselves to not only respond, but going forward to continue to lead the charge as far as TVET. So what do we foresee the future for our organization being in the not too distant future in some cases, as well as for the sector in its entirety? The organization projects to integrate in a more robust way 4.0 technologies, Industry 4.0 technologies. So the 21st century economy is really right now, as it stands, a combination of globalization, the transition from the industrial age to the knowledge age. So sharing of information is very important. And the revolutions and innovations in science and technology, that is where we are as a society today. There's now a need for new domains of knowledge and new disciplines in all levels of education and training. So the MIC Institute of Technology is already exploring some of the new areas as far as some of the technology related job skill sets that are emerging at this time. So there's a concept now that is growing globally of the smart industry. Now, whilst the smart industry is essentially a fully automated process, and Mr. Langine would have mentioned moving away from storing inventory to what is known as the just-in-time system, where you meet the need based on what is necessary at the time, the demand at the time, and not necessarily having a high cost of warehousing materials. The smart industry is essentially a fully automated process that allows any organization, any company, any manufacturing company, product to provide what is needed just in time. However, smart industries, all technologies, even though they essentially work on their own, you need technicians. You are going to need persons who are skilled in these new technologies to be able to service them, to commission them, to ensure that these, with the aptitude to ensure that these technologies are working the way they are supposed to work. So MIC is projecting in the not too distant future to create new training opportunities, new niche areas. So we are going to apply the blue ocean strategy, whereby we explore untrodden market areas and we develop training programs to meet those demands. So that's one of the ways that we project to transform the sector and add value through technology in the not too distant future, right? Our virtual learning environment will provide opportunity for the integration, as we discussed, of blended and distant learning programs as a major component of our training offerings. So we are not limiting the blended learning model to a response to COVID-19. The organization is projecting to be a technologically advanced campus that has the integration of technology, new technologies, not only in the training models, for example, using 3D imagery to show, let's say, the skill area of plumbing, to show fittings and to have discussions in the online classroom, but also to ensure that our systems and processes, our means of operations are seamless, synchronous, and add value. What we want to do is add value to all of our stakeholders, right? Ernst & Young, so I'm just going to give you a little excerpt. Ernst & Young reports that blockchain technology, Internet of Things, and artificial intelligence holds the potential to increase the efficiency and speed of security through the digitization of processes and systems and the decentralization of centralized services. So through Industry 4.0 technologies, what MIC Institute of Technology has been slowly adjusting itself to do and projects to do comprehensively in the not too distant future is to decentralize our organization's services and products. So for example, ideally, the traditional training model would mean that we have training activities happening at our satellite centers, and there is little flexibility. However, because of this online model, we are able, through the connectivity, the Internet of Things is essentially the connectivity of devices, the networking. So for example, you can connect your phone to your car. There are refrigerators that allow you that send a message to your phone and essentially tell you, okay, you're out of tomatoes. These are some of the technologies that are there. So everything is connected, and that is what is called the Internet of Things. So for the through this technology, what MIC foresees in the future is our ability to, through having online classes, connect with industries globally and expose our candidates to the technologies that are out there. So increased collaboration is one of the areas that we foresee in the future. And again, in the not too distant future, this is not me speaking whims and fancies, but in the not too distant future, the organization projects to be able to offer this type of service. Anything is possible through the Internet of Things and connecting. So by that way, we, as I aforementioned, we project to expose our candidates to be the leader, to be the go-to organization for exposure in technologies that are emerging in industry. And what that also means is that you, our industry partners, can send your staff to our organization to get exposure to things that are out there and prepare them to bring that technology into your organization, and thereby, of course, create the competitive edge within your organization. right? Some of the other projections, the Commonwealth of Learning Sustainable Development Goal, it reads sustainable, speaks to sustainability increase in the number of youth adults who have relevant skills, including technical vocational skills for employment, decent jobs, and entrepreneurship. So what MIC is also aspiring to do is not just feed into our national economy, but also prepare persons. We have free movement of people. It's a free thing. Prepare persons to go into other territories and be able to add value, to prepare them for that move towards self-actualization in whatever career that they foresee themselves in, right? The National Vision 2030, one of their pillars of development is that of a digital economy. And MIC Institute of Technology is positioning itself to further include 4.0 technologies, and I'll discuss some of those a little later on and how we project to do that into our training model so that we can contribute to that national mandate. Everything is going to be digitized, and persons have to be ready not only to work in those environments, but also have the capacity to get jobs to sustain that type of environment. And that is the direction that the organization is going. So there are three main areas that the MIC Institute of Technology is preparing itself for to add value. Three things that are already happening and are definitely going to continue to happen in a more intense way. The first one would be the migration and demographic disruption. And I mentioned that before when I spoke to the freedom of movement of persons. TVET systems need to be oriented not only to local supply chains, but also the skills available for migrating populations. So that's one of the areas that we are positioning ourselves to add great value. As aforementioned, freedom movement of people is something that you can't prohibit. When the borders open, a lot of persons will be reconsidering their means of living and the opportunities that are out there. So our organization is positioning itself through the use of technology, through exposure across borders, through introducing new collaborations that allow for new international accreditations to prepare these persons for that transition. So that is one of the things that we project to do. And also, we have a lot of persons returning home. So to really filter that movement of people to add value in the right places. The other critical area that we're positioning ourselves as far as technology and training and development is concerned is that of climatic disruption. And the transition towards equitable and sustainable economies is placing pressure on TVET systems. The labor force for green and sustainable oriented jobs is in high demand. We already know of green technologies such as solar, we know of hydro technologies for electricity, we know of irrigation systems for virtual farming, the new modes of agriculture that are happening now. And so the organization is positioning itself to establish new training offerings that feed into the sectors that are going to pop up not only within our economy, but across borders as well. We are not limiting ourselves to developing our economy only, but in doing so, we will also be adding value to the global community. Digital disruption is another one of the areas that we are preparing for through the use of technology. Developments in digital technology, including Industry 4.0, as I spoke a lot about, smart production and big data, not only affect skills demand in the labor market, but also change the profiles of jobs. So that new portfolio or that new suite of jobs that is emerging, that is where MIC is at. Not only supporting the growth of industries that exist now and their transition into smart industries and the incorporation of technology into their business processes, but also creating readying persons for the new industries that are going to occur. So what we foresee and what we are actually preparing to do is to establish curricula that feed into those areas that are going to be in very high demand. Our goal is to be at the fore, to be prepared, and to ensure that our output is one that adds value to the socioeconomic demands of the time. So those are the three areas that we are focusing our eyes on as far as adding value to industry and what our role is with the incorporation of technology. So I want to just run through shortly, quickly, how we foresee technological integration, my apologies, in the not too distant future in our organization and TVET at large, and how we propose to add value whilst transforming the face of TVET. The perception of TVET, unfortunately, at this time, the social perception is one where persons see, you often would find they think of the traditional construction-based skills. You're going to MIC, they're probably going to say that you're doing carpentry, masonry, plumbing, or electrical installation. But we are so much more than that. We actually have already a mechatronics lab where we do training in robotics technology in some aspect of that. Through our in-house engineering department, in collaboration with the training department, we would have developed an irrigation system for the new advances in agriculture that are happening now. So the idea is to change that social perception and move away from thinking of just the hard skills construction-based technology and to really project and sensitize the society to the new advances and where our organization sits, what we have already done and where we project to go. So some of the things that we foresee, new niche programs, of course, to support the emerging smart factories, something I mentioned before, incorporating virtual technology into assessment scenarios, thereby developing a new level of critical thinking. So let me speak to that briefly for a moment. So when we speak of virtual technology, the reality is that you can create just about any scenario. And there are technologies out there whereby you can insert a candidate, immerse a candidate into a scenario, create this scenario and test their competence and their ability to respond. And that is something that MIC proposes to do, because what it allows us to do is to improve the level of competency, because we have control over the scenarios that we create, not only in the training process, but in the assessment process, thereby assuring that the output is one where we know the level of cognitive process that candidate is able to exude is well above the traditional TVET candidate. That is what we want. We want our graduates to be the go-to for employers in industry. 3D printing technologies, we are exploring those, and I saw that there was a question from one of our candidates there. I believe that Mr. Duncan would have addressed that already, so thank you, Mr. Duncan. 3D printing technology, of course, one of the biggest killjoys, as we will say, to running a TVET organization is that of expenditure on materials. However, a one-time investment in technology would allow the organization to now create in some cases, the relevant fittings, for example, for plumbing, and reduce the cost of expenditure on materials. It also reduces waste. And of course, because MIC cares about the environment, it is also environmentally friendly approach. And so you create what you need when you need it for the purpose that you need it. So we're looking into 3D printing as well for that purpose. Virtual and augmented reality is very similar to the virtual technology. Being able to, this one will be a little bit in the distant future, but being able to create smart rooms that allow us to establish, to immerse the candidates into a sensory experience relative to their skill area. Again, it would also allow us to maximize on that shift system and reduce the expenditure on physical resources, because we can create what is necessary within that smart room for whichever skill area, right? One of the big questions that I know persons will be thinking about is, so this sounds great, but what about funding? The economy is in a mess nationally, globally. How does the organization project to fund these things? So on the national level, the government is moving to a digital transformation, which means that they are going to need persons trained in the technologies that they are going to procure for the government systems. Same is true for for private sector industries, whereby they will want to take their business operations to a new level with the integration of technology. And they're going to need persons trained. So MIC is projecting to decentralize this TVET funding across the spectrum of the government, the public and private sectors, whereby they support the technological need, the technological needs, and we provide the training and upskilling to meet their need. So greater collaboration and decentralization across the public and private sectors as far as funding some of these initiatives, because the reality is technology costs money, and we are fully aware of this. Beyond this, the organization will be tapping into a lot of the international donor organizations that have mandates to help develop the technological integration into TVET, into the TVET sector. So there are organizations out there that provide this type of funding to institutions to be able to ready themselves, prepare themselves, develop themselves for the new world of TVET. So funding is definitely something we have considered, and we are already exploring all of the different options that are available through collaboration. And one of the things that we project to do is to engage in more public-private partnerships, whereby some of the financial responsibility, we can have that decentralized and dispersed across the sector. One of the things we also propose to do, or we foresee for TVET in the future, is a virtual student exchange program. Having to not cross borders, we foresee the organization now offering a lot of our programs to persons in industry or in other institutions via the blended learning model. The benefit to this is that we can have the training, the teaching and learning process happen online, and then as far as the candidates coming for the assessment process and to interface where necessary with the technologies, the industries on that end would then treat with the airfare and the requisite financial burden in that area. So we propose to spread our wings, not limit ourselves to the national context, definitely prepare for the socioeconomic demands that are emerging and that we foresee will come: green technologies, the smart industries that are emerging, supporting the economy through the output of entrepreneurs as well, all through the integration of technology in the training models, but also our business processes as well. So as society becomes more connected, humankind is indeed on the verge of being more disconnected than ever. And it is only through strategy and sensible technological implementation that we will survive. And that is where MIC, Institute of Technology, is at right now. We have already made some advances. We have already made the requisite adjustments to ensure sustainability, to ensure that our industry partners do not lose out on their labor needs, and also to ensure that our beneficiaries enrolled in our programs are able to complete their training programs on time and move on to advance in their professional careers. TVET provides opportunities for the transition of students into the new world of work, as well as keeping existing workers employed. So we spoke to the professional development and the shift system, and how we intend to use ICTs to sustain and to support that. The pairing of the open and distance learning, also known as ODL, and information communication technologies provides opportunities to increase access, reduce costs, and improve the quality of education. And that is where MIC, Institute of Technology, is at right now. We commit to aiding the development of a diversified working class who are ready to assimilate into a society where skill is rapidly becoming the new currency. So I hope that I edified you in some way. You know where MIC is at now, where we project to be, and how we foresee technology helping to change that perception of TVET and add value to all of our stakeholders. Thank you so much for listening. That is all from me, and I will hand you over to Mr. Langine at this time. Don't forget, post your questions in the question and answer chat, and we will respond shortly.
All right. Thank you for that comprehensive explanation, Industry 4.0, this engaging discussion that I'm sure that many industries are carrying on as we speak. And as they say, today's new technology will be old tomorrow, and the appropriate know-how and the new innovations are required to cope with the demand of the varying job markets. I just want to go into something Ms. Lightbourne would have indicated in relation to the financing aspect, and just want to reiterate again the importance of collaboration from industry to industry, collaboration from the training institutions to industry, and the need for us to have tighter communication and to close these gaps. One of the areas that MIC IT is going to be looking into is that whole aspect of beneficiary-based financing, where all parties would seek to benefit to some degree and help support the advancement of technical vocational education and training. Yeah. So once we are able to achieve that, once industry sees that there's a benefit, if they see no benefit to it, they will not support any program. And whatever we do, may it be legislation or whatever, it would be largely ineffective. All right, so going into some of the questions and answers, I saw one of the questions that I would like to pose to Mr. Duncan. How feasible is it for a small organic beauty products business to have packaging that is jar or bottles, custom made? Mr. Duncan? All right, to repeat the question, the person asked, how feasible is it for a small organic beauty products business to have packaging that is jar or bottles custom made?
Okay, so essentially our commercial arm does the entire value chain. You're the owner of organic beauty packaging, beauty cream. You can actually use the packaging that exists right now as part of our plastics generic portfolio in the plastics factory. But the other option exists where it is you have a unique design that you would like your product to be packaged in. You come to MIC, you engage with the marketing and the engineering and design manager. You're able to move from conceptual design to actual dimensions of through the CAD and the CAM that I mentioned earlier. If you want a physical product to actually have a physical representation of what your concept will look like, you could go to the 3D printing thereafter. You could also go directly from that design that has been drawn and modeled to the workshop department, where it will be manufactured for the purposes of plastics manufacturing. More than likely, since you're saying it's for a cream, for example, it would be blow molding. For a jar, it will be injection molding for the jar and the lid. You go to the workshop, they make the mold. You could take your mold and go to your business if you actually have the equipment available, or to any of the other plastic manufacturers in Trinidad and Tobago. Not hold you ransom it is you have to come to MIC. You actually could take your mold and go to either any of these manufacturers and produce a bottle. But here at MIC, we offer the complete value chain. When the mold is finished, it can actually go on one of our plastic injection or blow molding, depending on the product, for the purposes of manufacture. And we manufacture all the products to your specification. There is a quality standard that we have to maintain. So your color, your weight, the aesthetics, the physical dimensions, stuff like that, everything would be maintained and you'll actually have your package. So how feasible it is 100% feasible. It is what it is we do. And like I say, there are many options, generic or contract, and your own product or using what exists on our shelves. Nathan?
Thank you for that, Mr. Duncan. Going to another question. I believe this question is related to teaching and learning. Since your teaching format is now blended, are there plans to consider extending the service beyond Trinidad and Tobago? Well, good news for that person who is inquiring for that. MIC in the past few years have been doing training within the region. Although face-to-face, there have been instances where we have employed the use of technology to conduct assessments, etc. We are currently delivering training in St. Martin, a blended approach as we speak. And we would have done teacher training for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Also, we'd have done skills training in Grenada, Guyana, St. Martin, as I mentioned, Suriname, and the likes. So yes, MIC is indeed considering extending our reach beyond Trinidad and Tobago and to the wider Caribbean. So going into some of the comments and suggestions, there's a recommendations for future presentations, and I want to share this with everyone. An impact assessment or outcomes analytical approach would be more useful. Everything thus far, I think, could be learned from your webpage or literature. For example, have you tracked yeah. So okay, so it was just a comment that I saw. I seem to have lost it on my screen. I believe Ms. Lightborn would have responded to that question in the chat. Okay, so I'm seeing another question here. Great work on bringing new technology knowledge to the local environment. Did MIC IT also complete an assessment of the local technological needs in the different industrial sectors? So I just want to send that question over to Ms. Lightborn to respond.
You, Mr. Langine, and thank you so much, Deborah, for your question. I can say with great joy that yes, the organization was able in some regard to do a preliminary assessment, I will call it, of the local technological needs in different industrial sectors. That was done in one way through our industry partner symposium that we hosted on August 13th, and we project to host more of those in the near future to ensure that we remain aligned to the needs. So a lot of what is happening in industries in the various sectors was discussed in that symposium. So the institution had a preliminary understanding, especially post-COVID, of what is needed from our industry partners. Even before that, through collaboration with the TTMA, and Mr. Langan, you can correct me, we would have begun doing some market research, some market needs analysis, also preliminary, to be quite honest, but getting our minds around what industry needs right now, where they are at, and where they are going. So yes, that is something that we have already engaged, and we intend to do so in a much more robust way, Deborah. So I hope that I answered your question. Thank you, Mr. Langine.
Thank you, Ms. Lightborn. One of the questions, although we would have responded to some, I'm not too sure if some of the other participants would have seen some of the questions and answers. So just want to go over to one of the questions. Are MIC programs GATE approved? The response given, the programs that are accredited by the ACTT are the ones that are GATE approved. That would be the NSDP, Electrical Electronics, the Industrial Maintenance, Mechanical Engineering Technician program, and also the technical vocational teacher training program are the programs that are GATE approved. Going on to one of the other questions. Okay, so one of the participants would have asked, at one time, MIC had the WAC, which is the Workforce Assessment Centers that assessed workers. Do they offer this service still? If not, where can one access this facility? At the moment, I would like to respond by saying that the WAC is currently under review due to the COVID-19 pandemic. However, we are hoping to recommence soon once restrictions are removed. So I would just like to indicate to our participants that you can contact our registration office, which would provide you with some more details. You can also leave your contact information and the skill area in which you would like to be assessed. Okay, I'm not seeing any more questions at this point in time.
Okay, so some of the questions that were fielded while Nathan, myself, and Patrice were all presenting were answered privately. But for the benefit of everybody in the chat, all the participants, one of the questions posed was, how many of the 250 organizations that were cited in my presentation does MIC service right now? MIC, through the commercial arm, the workshop department, the engineering design department, the plastics department, and our maintenance unit, service quite a bit of these organizations. MIC, because it was established in 1974, was part and parcel of the incubatory stage, where it is a lot of these organizations were a startup. Thereafter, as they grew and MIC grew, as the world became smaller and smaller through globalization, there was more competition. And as their technology increased, there was sometimes, most manufacturers, they would actually have the replacement parts X stock. So what you found with the workshop and engineering design department, for example, is if an organization did not purchase new equipment, we would actually have to do the re-engineering and actually do repair maintenance of sometimes parts that would have been no longer available by those organizations. For the plastics department, in terms of the organizations, through our contract manufacturing, we have established contractual arrangements with our suppliers, where it is we produce exactly what it is they would have commissioned as their molds. For the generic products, however, we have, through an aggressive marketing strategy, not just national, but regional as well, partnered with several organizations where they use our products for packaging. So of the 250 organizations, the volume of work that we do for them may have changed, but we do a significant amount for the number of organizations. A question was asked about our 3D printing services for the use of floats in the Carnival King and Queen bands. When we did thermoforming, when we ventured and diversed into that area as an organization, we actually were able to do a lot of the floats for a lot of these major bands, not through 3D printing, which is a little more expensive and a little more time consuming, but do machining, utilizing the workshop CNC services, and then using thermoforming on those molds to actually make the products. So Mr. Joseph, Sherwin Joseph, who asked a question, I hope I answered you. Do we do custom plastic products? That is similar to the answer I gave before. We do custom products. You come in with your concept design, and we will actually walk you through the engineering and design workshop till the end of plastics manufacturing, for that entire value chain. Can MIC produce a specific size container? We are limited by the machine and equipment that we use. However, as I believe all the panelists who presented with me, Patrice and Nathan, expressed to you guys, we work together with our industry partner. And the intention is, if it is we can't do it, what are the steps that we need to take towards that? Sometimes the solution resides in-house. Sometimes we will actually have to find a third party. But in terms of our specific size of containers, we are limited by the machines we have. However, the type of relationship our industry partner desires in order to meet their packaging need is more than likely something that we could explore and provide to them. That's it for the industry services question that I would have seen in the chat. I think Mr. Langai and Ms. Lightborn answered the training questions, but you guys could feel free to field some more if you wish.
Okay, so at this time, I'd like to see a question from Marie. It says, does the MIC still have a collaboration with Germany? Yes, we do. This collaboration is with the German Chamber of Crafts and Trades, in Aachen, Germany. What is the nature of this collaboration with Germany? Okay, so as I would have mentioned, and you probably may have missed it before, the NSDP, the National Skills Development Program, the Journeyman and our Master Craftsman programs are accredited with the Aachen German Chamber of Crafts and Trades. And because of that collaboration with them, you know, there's that stamp of approval for that program that the MIC Institute of Technology would offer. Another question, are there any programs that you offer that would enable a successful candidate an opportunity to further tertiary level education at UE, for example, a BSc in mechanical engineering? Yes. At this point in time, I would like to indicate that we are working with UTT and UE to sort of enable a matriculation process for some of our programs coming out of the higher level programs, that is the NSDP program and the Master Craftsman, going into the engineering type fields, mostly the BSc in mechanical engineering, as you would have indicated there. Okay, I'm looking for some more questions. All right, so at this point in time, I would like to thank all of our participants and attendees for the questions fielded thus far. And as you know, we can get some more information from our website, www.mic.co.tt. Feel free to contact our various departments for more information. May it be that you are seeking assistance with a product or service, or even looking for more information for our training as it relates to our training programs. So at this time, I'd like to hand you over to Ms. Lightborn, who would wrap and close us off at this time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Langain. So on behalf of the MIC Institute of Technology and my co-panelists, Mrs. Langain and Duncan, we wish to extend a hearty thank you to all of our participants who logged in and who stayed with us on this journey. We hope that it was indeed informative, that you have a new appreciation for our organization and how we can add value to you in whichever capacity. I want to extend appreciation on behalf of MICIT also to the TTMA for affording us this opportunity to showcase our organization and to support their vision and goals as well. I want to let you guys know that any questions you may have further, you can field those through our info@mic.co.tt, and our communications department will pass those on to the relevant persons that will definitely get back to you hastily. Be sure to check us out via www.mic.co.tt, where you can get a full profile of our organization. And of course, it's the 21st century, so you know that you can find us on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you so much for being with us. We hope that you have a pleasurable rest of your day, and we hope to see you again soon in future. Bye.